Welcome to Unit 6, Section 5, Lesson 1, Video 1. Solving equations using the distributive property. In this section, we're going to solve equations that require using the distributive property. For example, solve 4 times n plus 2 equals 12. Before we solve this one using algebra, we're going to demonstrate how we could solve it using algebra tiles. In the previous section, we learned that 4 times n plus 2 means 4 groups of n plus 2. So if we model n plus 2, we would have 1 yellow rectangle and 2 yellow squares. 4 groups of that would be the following. And on the right-hand side, we would have 12 yellow squares. In order to isolate the variable, we would want to get rid of the 8 yellow squares on the left. And in this example, because there are 8 yellow squares on each side of the equation, we don't need 0 pairs. We can simply remove both sets of 8 yellow squares. And we're left with 4n on the left equals 4. One rectangle matches up with one square, which means n equals 1 is the solution to the equation. Now we can also solve this equation using algebra. And anytime we have brackets, we're going to use the distributive property to get rid of the brackets. 4 times n equals 4n, and 4 times 2 equals 8, and that all equals 12. We want to get rid of the positive 8, or add 8. So the opposite to add 8 would be to subtract 8. And if I subtract 8 from the left-hand side, I would subtract 8 from the right-hand side. 8 subtract 8 equals 0. And on the right, 12 subtract 8 equals 4. When we rewrite the equation, we're left with 4n equals 4. The opposite of multiply by 4 is divide by 4. So the next step is to divide both sides of the equation by 4. On the left-hand side, the 4's cancel because 4 divided by 4 equals 1. And on the right-hand side, 4 divided by 4 also equals 1. So the solution to the equation is n equals 1. I can verify the solution by substituting it back into the equation. I do the operations inside the brackets first. 1 plus 2 equals 3, and 4 times 3 equals 12. The left-hand side equals the right-hand side. So n equals 1 is the solution to the equation. The next example. Solve negative 5 times n subtract 3 equals negative 20. Once again, we want to use the distributive property to get rid of the brackets. So negative 5 times n is negative 5n, and negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15, and that all equals negative 20. We want to get rid of the positive 15, or add 15, first. The opposite of add 15 is subtract 15. So we're going to subtract 15 from the left-hand side. And if we do that, we need to make sure we also subtract 15 from the right-hand side. 15 subtract 15 equals 0. And negative 20 subtract 15 equals negative 35. I can rewrite my equation, and I'm left with negative 5n on the left and negative 35 on the right. The opposite of multiply by negative 5 is divide by negative 5. So I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by negative 5. On the left-hand side, negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1, so they cancel. And on the right-hand side, negative 35 divided by negative 5 equals positive 7. So the solution to the equation is n equals 7. I can substitute that back into the original equation. We do the operation inside the brackets first. 7 subtract 3 equals 4. And negative 5 times 4 equals negative 20. The left-hand side equals the right-hand side. So n equals 7 is the solution to the equation. Please proceed to video 2.